Hey everyone, just wanted to let y'all know that my physical copy of my graphic novel is now available to purchase on Amazon. There's also the ebook form, but it's finally done. I'm excited. Finally got the physical copy ready to go. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave the links down in the descriptions, alright? Other than that, I hope you enjoy the video. Bye. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wicked Arts. Wicked here, and it's Digital Wednesday. And today I'll be discussing my process for doing this two-page spread on a comic book I'm still working on for somebody. Um, yeah, so basically with the two-page spread, I wanted to kind of have, kind of tilted on an angle, and that way it would just make it more of an interesting view. You can see I'm switching back and forth between two things just because it makes it easier to just kind of color pick from previous things. That way you don't have to try and guess the colors. But yeah, I'm just kind of putting down the base colors. So basically what I did was I have three separate layers of line work. One is just the foreground, like character stuff and the vehicles. And so I just made a layer underneath that to fill in all the base colors. And then I have another layer for the small background and the little panel box up in the top left. And then I have the background itself, and this time because I wanted some distance and add some fog in there, I got three separate layers for like the hills and the mountains and stuff in the back. So yeah, with the color flats on here for like the Humvees, when I was in the military, our matte V's that we had, they were kind of a tan yellow color. So I just tried to match that best I could, because they're not so close. You don't really have to put as much detail on the things. I mean, unless somebody's just out there just really trying to zoom in. So, I mean, there's detail, but it's not enough that it needs to be like, fully showcased or anything. So it just kind of took some time with a spread like this. I mean, you got a lot going on. So, I mean, I could have used like the lasso tool or whatever, but I just trust the process better of just painting it in myself. So I just chose just basic colors. If you actually look at the vehicles that we used when I was in the military, there's not a whole lot of color to them. Like it's not, 18 different colors on something. It's just pretty basic, especially with the tan because it's supposed to be kind of able to blend in with the desert. There are a few spots that would have some black on it, like the bumper and the tires themselves, and the mirrors. But other than that, mass majority was just a tan, just basic color. So I didn't have to go all crazy and put different symbols or anything on there. Um, but yeah, once you kind of fill all that in, you just kind of move down to the next layer that you want to work on and just kind of add a color layer under each one. So when you're deciding colors, you don't want to go too over the top and put too much unless just what you're doing calls for it. So like right now I'm just doing the background, the village that this takes place in at the moment. It's just your basic, just kind of made out of dirt and clay, with some brick and mortar underneath as a base. So I just used just a basic kind of tan color just to kind of fill everything in, and just being real careful to not kind of go outside the lines. The way I had it set up, it kind of prevented me from being able to go in and do a selection around it because it would have kind of selected the ground and stuff anyway, so it wouldn't have really made too much of a difference. Um, I know while I was overseas, for some reason there was a lot of the doors would have a big blue or red door on it, so I just decided to go with the blue, filling that in. I decided to make them wood. Most of the time they were made out of metal, but I just liked having a little bit more texture, and I just went with a basic sand color that I've been using on other pages for the ground itself, so just kind of more of a dirt. But to show some difference in separation on the tree and the rocks in the background, I just did it like a dark brown and then kind of an ash colored green for the baseline for that. And then the rocks themselves, I kind of went for more of a brown gray. just to have some difference. You don't want too much of the same color going in the background. And then as you work your way back and things get off in the distance, things tend to get lighter. So I just kind of went with the same color in the foreground and then just made it lighter and lighter as I went back. And then for the mountains, just kind of a more darker tone from like what the rocks were back there. I didn't want to do any snow-capped mountains just because of the time period that this takes place. Even though the altitude would be high enough to have some, it just wasn't present anyway. And I just used a gradient for the sky and just made sure I did it at the same angle. And then I added a fog layer between each hill to kind of add some haziness into the background. And then what I do is just kind of go back through each layer and just add a shadow layer. And then I'm just using a regular brush. But if you just kind of put, what I use is 60% opacity. Once you lower that down, it'll kind of blend in a way that it's not going to look completely black and give you more of like a cell shaded look, like what you would see in like a cartoon or an anime. You just kind of have that cell shading going on. So again, I just kind of work from the front to back. So I start with the foreground, which would be all the characters, all the rebel guys that are out there on the ground, and then the Humvees themselves. Now you'll notice when I finish with one of the main characters here, he's a little bit closer, so I can add a little bit more detail into the shading. But as you get farther back, you don't really have to focus too much on that, just because, like I said, there's no way really for somebody to just zoom in unless they have like a digital version that they just kind of really get in close. So it's not necessary. You can kind of just block out areas just to kind of give it some shape and form. So when you'll see a couple times when I zoom out, you can see how it kind of enhances the characters standing there in the background, and it'll do the same for the Humvee. So again, it's not like something that's going to be super noticeable, but it does make a difference in the long run in what the end result looks like with the picture. So again, it's very time consuming when you do a 2-page spread, again, depending on the level of detail. Since I have kind of like a time limit working on some of this stuff, I really wanted to make sure that I didn't go, again, too overboard. Try not to do like a DC style. But when it came to the trucks, I really was just kind of thinking about the sunlight and where it was coming from. And if you've watched my channel for any number of time, you know that I don't really focus too much on the realism of lighting. I go for more of what looks cool as opposed to what's accurate. So there are certain areas like under the truck, and then the sides that are facing away, that I would add in some shadow in the correct location. But for the most part, it was just really kind of just trying to make it stand out with its forms and shapes. So I didn't, like I said, go over the top with super detailing it, because by the end, of the process, there should be enough information there to kind of get the gist of what's going on. And so you can see how I'm just kind of picking a whole side that would be facing away from a particular light direction and just filling that whole thing in, except for any edges that would be pointing out in a way. And again, that kind of helps build up the form for that. And you can see like this one's even further back, so I don't have to put as much of the detail in there, but it does increase it enough that, again, you can tell that it's 3D now as opposed to something flat. And with the background, I just do the same thing. I just add a new shadow layer, set it at 60%, and then move on to the next one with the building itself. It's not as long of a process once you get to like the bigger things in the building. So I really just tried to, again, just focus on that light source. So like what would make it look cool, because I wanted all the focus and stuff to go to the center of the page. So I would tend to put the shadows more towards the outside. But other than that, once I worked my way out to the hills and out to the mountains themselves, it kind of completes the image to give it more of a non-flat but a cartoon style look to it, which is what the person I'm doing the comic book for wanted to go for anyway. He seems to like the style to go that way. But other than that, I just went and added a few little shadow details on the ground just so it didn't look so flat. I just kind of went around the little grooves and cracks on there. Um, but other than that, the last step, I didn't really record that part. But just adding word bubbles, I just put that above the panels line. You can also see my sky was kind of going around the background. So after I go in and use like a cloud brush, which you can just find online anywhere for free, I kind of trimmed that out so that everything was just inside the panels. But I also made sure that I added the word bubbles above all that so that I can't just go above. But yeah, I mean, that's really the process of a two-page spread. And then when you insert it into whatever program you're doing, it'll split the page in half how it's supposed to look. It's kind of planned for that a little bit, but I mean, other than that, that's really the process. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you're new to the channel, you like what you saw, go ahead and hit subscribe. Other than that, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Remember to keep on sketching, and I will see everyone in the next one. Alright? Bye.